Waiting for this night. I am so excited. I'm not the typical fangirl, but there's something about Judi. She just speaks life into me. And we were part of the Rise Up Rock Stars, and this book was recommended to me. And I'm even listening to it again today, this week, and I'm hearing even new things. So first of all, let me just say I'm just so excited. We have on our call tonight Judi Holler. Now, if you do not know who Judi is, she is the author of a book called Fear Is My Homeboy. So if you have not read it, you need to read it. And I know that Micah will 100% agree. This is one of the best books for self-confidence, self-love, and just totally overcoming your fears. And that's pretty much why Judy's even on this call tonight, because I just said, screw it. I'm going to ask her if she'll get on a call. She'll just say no if she doesn't want to. And she freaking said yes. And she's here tonight and she's going to pour into us. And I'm just I'm so excited. So just a little bit about Judi. Judi, like I said, is the author of, it is a best-selling book. It's now being translated into 2 different languages right now. So it's just growing in popularity. She's going to be just famous. I'm sure she's going to be talking at Summit someday, I'm sure. She is the creator of the Fear Boss community. It's a community of brave humans dedicated to smashing comfort zones. How awesome is that? She is on a mission to help people live braver lives and empower leaders to live braver teams. So who is ready to get this fear party started? Woo-hoo. So we're going to welcome Judi. I'm going to put myself on mute. And again, Judi, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. We cannot wait to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. How are we doing? Thank you, Shay, for that beautiful introduction. Let me go see my screen. I'm going to flash through the pages here. We've got 80 people. I'm going to look at your beautiful faces for a hot minute here. Oh my God, look at everybody. I love these because when they're in the evening, it's you got babies, you got dogs, you got cars, you got shakes. Everybody's in their nighttime routine, their afternoon routine, headsets. I love it. Sandra, you look really cozy in your recliner. I'm kind of jealous. We got face masks. We got all the things going on. This is amazing. People living their lives, and I just got to say, I'm obsessed with you guys. I love the Beachbody fam, and I just really respect the work you're doing, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're specifically going to talk a little bit about what Shay just said. So she jumps into my DMs, and she's like, hey girl, hi, it's me. I see you do some Beachbody calls from time to time, and would you think about maybe coming to ours? And I have this post-it, legit, this is not planned at all, on my computer. And it says, you don't get what you don't ask for. And I'm constantly reminding myself of that because I get scared just like you guys. I have to do uncomfortable things all the time for my business as an author. Hi, can I be on your podcast? Or hi, will you be on my podcast? Or hi, have you read my book? Or hi, would you hire me to come speak to your organization? Or hi, whatever it is that we're doing. So we're going to have a little conversation today about the discomfort zone, but I'm always sort of leaning into this idea that, dude, I will never get what I don't ask for. And at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that could happen? No. All right. On to the next one, right? So if it's cool with you guys, here's what I'm thinking. And hi, Micah, I know you're a team leader too. So thanks for having me on. That's awesome. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. You guys let me know if it's cool. I've got a couple of slides. They're super fun, not boring. I'll kind of go between the slides and me. So it's not just small face and, but I've got some slides and some content around the discomfort zone, some new ideas that aren't in my book. And it maybe goes about 25 minutes and then maybe 30 minutes sometimes. And then we open it up to a live Q&A and we just jam and talk a little bit. And you guys can ask me questions about the book, about anything that's going on. And so keep a little list. Are you guys cool with that? Would you like to do some slides and then, okay, cool. So we'll do a mini keynote. I'm seeing a lot of yeses here. Okay, cool. I'll do a little mini keynote and then we'll go to a Q&A. By the way, y'all, I'm looking at your comments. I'm looking at this chat box. So talk to me. I love it. I love you back. Thank you guys so much for reading. I can't even tell you how much it means to me. Also, mute your Zoom, mute your phone, double check right now, stop what you're doing and take a look at that mute button and make sure it's in red so that I can stay on track and we don't hear all the beautiful things going on in your life. And y'all, I've heard some crazy stuff on some Zooms. I've had some things happen that you don't want to have happen. Okay. There are some things, and it's life, and it happens. You know, I give people grace. But yeah, so let's try to keep ourselves on mute, right? Okay, so first things first. Shay did a great introduction. You guys know who I am. I think the two things that I would add to that is, yes, I wrote Fear Is My Homeboy, but I also own a creative company. And in that company, we are on a mission to make the world a braver place and to help leaders and entrepreneurs like you lead braver teams and build braver companies. And I do that through my keynote speeches. I am absolutely manifesting that summit will happen someday. It is like on my vision board one of these days, y'all, one of these days. But that said, I work as a keynote speaker. I have books and products and courses and tools to help people live braver lives. And most importantly, you see this like neon sign behind me that says yes and. All of the work that I do, really how I live my life, and certainly what I do on Fear is inspired by what I learned in improv theater. So tell me in the comments, do we know what improv theater is? If you read my book, you probably know what improv is. And let me know if you've been to Second City in Chicago specifically. I'd love to hear what we've got going on in the chat box here. And if you've never seen improv, just say no. That's cool to kind of give me a vibe. Yes, cool. Lots of improv. Cool. Good. Okay, so we've got, I think it was Kelsey that said no. We've got Lynn has never seen improv. Great. Okay, Ruby. So let me give you a high level overview on what improv theater is, because it does inspire all the work I do. And we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about that today. And the two words in neon behind me are two words from the improv theater we use to keep our scenes in forward momentum on an improv stage. But they're two really badass words to help you. By the way, every now and then something comes out of my mouth. I usually am pretty clean on stage. If you listen to my podcast, I got a warning. It's explicit, right? You just put in your earpods, but if there's little kids running around, I'll behave myself here today. But just know that every now and then a badass or a hell yes may slip out. And if that is going to offend someone or a child, just buckle up, right? Just buckle up, hold on tight. But if you got small kids around, just know that that may happen from time to time, but I will be on my best behavior. So yes and are two words that we use in the improv theater to keep things moving forward on stage. And they're two words that most certainly keep me in forward momentum in my life. Let me know in the chat box, just put a HY, a hell yes, if you have yes, but people in your life. You know these people. Yes, but, oh girl, you want to run that business? Yes, but, or oh my God, you want to have another kid? Yes, but, or oh my gosh, these shakes are great. Yes, but, or you know what I mean? So everybody's screaming hell yes. We have these people in our lives, on our teams, in our world, in our family. And it's not that we don't love these people, but we have to be really careful about protecting ourselves from the energy that takes away from us. The two words, yes, and keep you in forward momentum. Me saying yes to you means that, yes, I see you, I hear you, I have received what you have to say, and here's what I'm going to add to that. Here's where we're going. Here's where I think we could go discover. Yes, and is supportive and trusting and collaborative and creative and courageous. Yes, but is negative and controlling and fear-based, right? So I love you, but. Okay, well, then do you love me? Because you just told me you love me, but what is that? So you love me, but your presentation was great, but, okay, wait. So now the whole presentation I just gave went out the window because the but makes me, you're trying to control what's coming next. I love you and sounds so much better. I love you and let's try to put our phones down when we're at dinner so that we can like connect a little bit more. Your presentation was great and maybe next time we use less slides. You get what I'm saying. We use these Jedi mind tricks in the improv theater to do really cool stuff on the improv stage. They translate beautifully into life. So the reason I am bringing this up is that my life and the work I do on Fear is inspired by what I've learned in the improv theater. And I'm going to talk about some of those ideas specifically as it relates to the discomfort zone. So if you can, Shay or Micah, give me control of slides. I'm going to share a couple of slides. Just make me like co-host or whatever. But I wanted to make sure we had the improv disclaimer off the jump, so you guys kind of know where my mindset lives. Great. Okay. So let me share my screen. Oh, I don't think it's there yet. Almost. Do you know how to do that? Just click the little 3 little buttons up in the corner. So if you click on my photo, you'll see 3 little ... and then just make me like co-host or something. And it's okay. If we can't get to it, I can totally do this without slides. Just the slides are fun. No mistakes, only gifts. We're going to talk about that. It's cool. It's all good. And when it comes up, just let me know. And oh, great. There it is. Perfect. I love technology. Isn't it fabulous? Okay, so can everybody see the slide? Yay. Okay, let me get back my chat box back. Where'd you go? Chats. I want to see you guys. There we go. Perfect. Let me get rid of this. Great. So just give me a yes if you can see my slides. Cool. One new message. Yeah, cool. Thanks, you guys. Perfect. So I'll go back and forth between these so that you can see me on the slide. And it's not just me in a little box, but let's talk about the Fear Boss mission. So like it was said, like Shay said, I created this community of brave human beings. We call ourselves Fear Bosses, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but we have a mission, and our mission is this, that we believe our freedom lives inside of smashing comfort zones, okay? So this means that our freedom, and when I'm talking about freedom, I am talking about all kinds of different freedom. I am talking about your financial freedom, the freedom to have safety and security, especially in times of disruption. I am talking about your physical freedom, the freedom to be healthy and to have energy. I am talking about mental freedom, the freedom to have clarity and focus, and most importantly, to be able to control your reactions when things happen to you in your life that you don't expect, that you don't see coming. And the improv theater is all about this, right? We don't have a script. That's the thing about improv. So to back up a minute, because there were a few of you that did not know what improv theater is a form of live theater, and we have no script. The plot, the storyline, the characters, the dialogue, it's all made up on the fly as we go. We use our training, things like yes and, to succeed on stage. So it's very different than stand-up comedy. So we have no script. So I really believe mental freedom is this ability to be focused and to manage your self-doubt and your anxiety and to really control your reactions, because you've designed your life to be that way, and you've worked to manage your mind in a way that allows you to be free in that capacity. What about professional freedom? This is one of my favorites. The freedom to do work you love the way you want with people that rock, right? I'm chasing that all day long. And listen, you can have all of it, but, and one of the only times I'm going to use the word but, we can use but, by the way, in life when we're about to make a really good point, but you can have it all. You just got to be willing and brave enough to get uncomfortable in order to go earn that freedom for yourself. So think about it. Think about it. Everything that you have in your life that you love, that you really treasure, has required you to do something uncomfortable in order to go earn it for yourself. So I put up the awkward face emoji because I feel like I am the awkward face emoji. Like if there's one emoji I use all the time, it's the awkward face emoji. Please tell me what your emoji is. Maybe you are the awkward face emoji. Maybe you're the dancing girls emoji, the crying, laughing. Yes, this one, totally, for sure. But I feel like I am the awkward face emoji. We've got the face to the palm to the hand. Yeah, I'm definitely, that's a big emoji for me too. Oh, these are great. The face with the hearts. I love it. So I love all the emojis. So much fun. So yeah, think about everything you have in your life right now that you treasure, that you love, that you love. You have done something uncomfortable in order to go get it for yourself. So maybe you're a mama and you're on this call and you've given birth to a child. It required you to go give birth to that child in order to have the beautiful child that you love. That may drive you crazy sometimes, but you have that child, but you gave birth to that child. Think about your spouse, your partner, your significant other. Someone had to ask someone on the uncomfortable, awkward first date. That is always weird and always uncomfortable. Think about your best friend. Someone had to say, hi, do you want to like hang out Friday night? Like, do you want to be friends? That's weird. That's uncomfortable. Think about your business. Think about all of the uncomfortable things you have to do in your career, resumes, interviews, cold calling, prospecting. It's earned you the success you have so far, right? But you've earned it through getting uncomfortable in order to get that for yourself. What about your health? You move your body, you take the vitamins, you drink the green juice to earn that health on the other side. I mean, I don't really know a lot of people who actually like kale. I mean, if you like kale, talk to me in the emojis or in the emojis, because I'm looking at emojis. Talk to me in the chats. Like, who likes kale? Right? Most people don't, but we drink the kale and we eat the kale and we do the veggies and we move our bodies and we drink the green juice and all the things because we want to earn a healthy life and we want to feel vibrant and energetic. You get what I'm saying? So we earn our health by doing the uncomfortable things required in order to get a healthy body. So all of the freedom that you want in this life is really truly living inside of the discomfort zone. And I want to help you. I'm like sort of on a mission to help you get more comfortable in this uncomfortable space. And I really believe that this is where all the magic lives, all of it. Curiosity and wonder and creativity and joy and play. And the mayor, by the way, if there was a mayor of the discomfort zone, I have a map of the discomfort zone here. Board. The mayor lives at the top. He's got like a loft with palm trees and like a cool pool and like a super chic like rooftop penthouse. And the mayor is freedom. And everybody wants to hang out with freedom because freedom's got it all, right? And so financial freedom, physical freedom, mental freedom, all the freedom that you want in this life requires you to move in to the discomfort zone. Here is the problem. This is where we get stuck. We get stopped here because we don't feel like we're good enough. We don't want people to judge us. We don't want people to make fun of us. We don't want people to not like us. And I use this image of this girl because I know how it feels most days. Like you post something on Instagram, like you do something vulnerable or you DM someone or you send that email and you're like, oh God, like just waiting for something to happen. Like you're like, this is just, again, awkward face emoji. We don't want to fail. We don't want to embarrass ourselves. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to get fired. And we don't want people to not like us. We don't want people to judge us. And we don't want people to make fun of us. And I'm going to speak some truth to y'all right now. And I hate to break this to you, but the truth of the matter is this. People already don't like you. People are already judging you and people are already making fun of you. Can I please get an amen in the comments? So the question is, right, Artie, I think that's your name. Like she's giving me that from her bed. Like the question is, who are you living your life for? Who are you running your business for? Who are you in your relationship for? Who are you raising your kids for? You or all the strangers on the internet? You or everybody else in the world, right? And what I love to think about is this. If they're already talking, let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about and do it on your terms. This life is short. It is sweet, but it is short. So are you doing things on your own terms? Now is always the best time to do the next thing. So yes, this is where we get stuck, and we also get stuck on this word. The world is telling you to go be fearless. There's fearless t-shirts and jewelry and bumper stickers. Everybody's telling you to go be fearless, but think about it, Fear Boss. If you were really fearless, you would do all kinds of crazy stuff. You would eat poisonous foods on purpose. You would walk down like dark alleys alone at night by yourself. You'd never go to a doctor. You would never pay your taxes. I probably wouldn't. If you were really fearless, you would do all kinds of crazy stuff. So no, our goal really shouldn't be fearless. There's this book called Big Magic. I wrote about it in my book. It's a book by Elizabeth Gilbert. She talks about this idea in her book, and she says, listen, the only fearless people I know are 5-year-olds and sociopaths. And I love 5-year-olds, but we don't want to be 5 again, okay? And we are not sociopaths, so no, the goal isn't fearless. The goal is figuring out how to fear your fear just a little bit less. And this is what makes you brave. The goal isn't perfect. The goal isn't fierce. The goal is, can I today be just a little bit braver than I was yesterday. Just a little bit braver than I was yesterday. So I really believe that there is a bridge that takes you from the comfort zone where most of us hang out, doing the same things we've always done because this is the way we've always done things. There's this bridge, this magical golden bridge that takes you into the discomfort zone where everybody hangs out, all the cool people, the people we want to be with, right? Joy and creativity and magic and wonder, and of course, all the freedom that we want. And the bridge is bravery. And so I want to share what I really believe brave is. And I want to share the 5 big ideas that will help you walk from the comfort zone into the discomfort zone like a real fear boss. So get your notebooks ready. I'm already sweating. I'm like sweating. I'm so fired up over this. Okay, so let's start with the B. And we have to start here because this is big. B is for boss. Because you are a boss. I take issue with all the like a boss stuff that's going on right now in the world. And I had coffee mugs, all the stuff. You are not like a boss. You are a boss. You're a boss, period. So why do we sell ourselves short? I'm not like a boss. I am a boss. So speak what you want to be. And I dedicated an entire chapter in my book to this idea. Y'all know it. Being the CEO of you, because I believe nothing works if you don't work, which is also why chapter 1 of the book was love yourself, right? Because nothing works if you don't work, but you have to think about yourself as a business. So whether you're running a business or working for someone else and side hustling on the side, the most important business that you're running is the business of who you are. And so when you really start to think about yourself as a CEO, you step into that mindset and you start to realize that what you have inside of you are all of the assets that make up that business. Your intellectual property, your energy, your ability to be nimble and flexible. What about protecting our mindset, right? All of these things are very important, but we tend to put them last. We tend to put everybody else ahead of us, and we end up last on our own list. But the question is, who will benefit from you being the best version of yourself? Everybody that's ahead of you on your own list, right? And so we've sort of got it backward, and especially us women, we feel guilty about this idea. We feel shame around this idea. We feel ashamed to go take a bubble bath and lock ourselves in the bathroom, get away from the kids for a minute, right? We feel guilty for taking a walk with no one. We feel guilty for asking for the time that we need. We feel guilty when we say no. We feel guilty, and so we say yes too much, right? We continually live in these patterns of shame and guilt, which ends up causing resentment, and it makes us sick and overwhelmed and exhausted and stressed out. So I want you to start thinking about making big deposits into the bank of you. What does 2032 you look like? And what are you doing now to ensure that you like who that is, right? People are always asking, does goal-focused planning work? Does the Peloton bike work? Does Beachbody work, right? Do the shakes work? Well, the real question is, will you work? Because if you'll work, anything will work. And so when you think about yourself as a boss, not like a boss, you step into your power, and it sort of gives you this beautiful armor. I call it a shit shield. It allows me to sort of have all of that crazy stuff that comes into my life. It allows it to just sort of bounce off of me like I'm wearing an armor, because I know the power that I hold, and I know that I call the shots in my life. Listen, people will leave you. Companies will fire you. Economies will tank. Pandemics will happen. The one thing that you can count on, no matter what, is your damn self. Your damn self. So what are you doing to make sure that that is solid and that is good? So when SHIT hits the fan, when you get hurt, when you lose someone you love, when you hit rock bottom, you are ready to go to battle. right? And so this idea of really thinking of yourself as a boss is an empowering tool to help you weather any storm and step into your own power. That said, you've got to be brave enough to cause a ruckus. And I love this word, the word ruckus, right? So this means that you are brave enough to rattle the cage of mediocrity with your courage. This means that you do not do basic. I see Connie wearing like a headband that says be fierce, right? That is a fear boss. We are not, it doesn't mean we're a bully. It doesn't mean we walk all over people. It doesn't mean we're aggressive or annoying or, all of that. It just means that we are not afraid to cause a ruckus. We are not afraid to be who we are. We are not afraid to tap into the things that make us come alive. This is what we want and need more of in the world. So a fear boss, is always thinking about how they're rattling the cage of mediocrity with their courage. And the big idea behind causing a ruckus and why it matters for the discomfort zone is this. If you want a different life than everybody else, if you want a different relationship than everybody else, if you want a different business than everybody else, you have to be willing to do things different. When you do the same things that everybody does, you're never going to get different results. And you're also going to end up looking like everybody else. I'll give you guys a really tactical example. I, for the longest time, was so afraid to share my love of hip hop music with people and just in general. And I was going to be a corporate keynote speaker. And I was so afraid that if I talked about the fact that I loved hip hop music, and I grew up in the 90s. So if we have any 1990s hip hop fans, come on, talk to me. I cannot even, cause I have a Snoop Dogg cutout in my office. This is what my life has been. Like, this is just the space I grew up in, right? 1990s hip hop music. And I hid it for a long time. So I was embarrassed, or not embarrassed of the music, but I was afraid people would make fun of me. I was afraid people would judge me. I was afraid people would call me names. I was afraid I wouldn't be taken seriously. And so I hid it. And one day I decided I'm going to try something. I'm going to do an experiment, which we're about to talk about in a minute. And I started pumping a little bit of that into my micro content online that I was creating. And I created a slide in one of my presentations that shared a quote that I love from a song that I love. And it blew up. It became really popular and super relatable. And you know what ended up happening? It gave me the confidence to do it again and to do it again and to do it again. And if you follow me, I don't do it all the time, but I do it every now and then. And if you even scroll back to my social media feed from like 6 years ago, you'll see that I've been doing this forever, but I slowly started getting more comfortable. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I was brave enough to cause a ruckus and really lean into what makes me me. It opened up the door to find people who think like me, who feel like me, and it opened up the door to work with clients who have the same mindset. So it made work a lot more fun because I felt more creative. I was doing things that really fired me up, and I was beginning to work with clients and customers and companies that were fun and cool that I could like relate to. I didn't have to feel like I had to like be somebody else, right? Or fit into a box. And so it just turned me on creatively, and it opened up the door to other like-minded people. So the reason I bring this up, a ruckus, is being brave enough to talk about the things that you really love. Maybe you're religious. Maybe you read the Bible. Maybe you are into Buddhism. Maybe you love country music and you're crazy about country. Maybe you have, like me, an obsession with sequin, right? Whatever it may be, what is it that you love? And are you infusing enough of that into the stories that you're telling and the things that you're creating for yourself in your business? Because if you're not, you're playing it way too safe. When you are brave enough to cause a ruckus, you'll get noticed. People will stop the scroll because they'll start to, whoa, what is that? And what is that? And oh my God. And when we go small, when we niche, when we really own something, we end up going really big because we set ourselves free and we open up doors to things we never saw coming. So I shared that little story with you. I didn't think I was going to share it, but I share it with you to give you a tactical example of one way that I've chosen to cause a ruckus. And there are so many other ways that I cause a ruckus, and it really leans into what our A is, y'all, which is action. Don't let that word bore you, because this is the meat of everything. This is fear experiments. So if there is one big idea behind all of the work that I'm doing on fear that has risen to the top, it's this idea of experimenting with your fear every day on purpose. And so I invite you to become a fear scientist with me and to begin experimenting with your fear every day on purpose. And what I love about thinking about yourself as a fear scientist, so when you're out there causing a ruckus, you thinking of the ruckus moves you're making as fear experiments removes the fear and the overwhelm and the anxiety and the self-doubt out of anything new you want to go do for yourself or your business, and it welcomes in more confidence and creativity and courage and play. Because if it's just an experiment, you can't F it up because it's just an experiment, right? So why do we put so much pressure on ourselves? Why do we take so seriously the things that we are doing, the ruckuses that we are creating? And instead, can we shift into a mindset of empowerment by just starting to think a little bit like a scientist? So a fear experiment can be something really big, like starting your own business, quitting a job, getting divorced, getting married, having kids, choosing not to have kids, quitting a bad habit, writing a book. All of these things are really big, meaty fear experiments. That said, this is where I'd insert a but you don't have to jump out of a plane or like free solo Mount Everest to be brave. You can do small everyday things and still be working your courage muscle. And I know y'all love fitness, so let's take ourselves to Fear Boss Fitness. I believe that your courage is a muscle. Bravery is a muscle. Same with your creativity. If you aren't doing creative stuff on the regular, if you aren't dating your creativity, you're going to lose it. If you aren't doing things to prime your brave muscle, you're going to lose it. If you don't go to the gym and lift those weights, if you don't hit that cardio, if you don't eat the kale, you're going to lose your health, right? So your muscles aren't going to get big unless you pick up the weights. So in Fear Boss Fitness, we're in the gym and we're lifting heavy, but the weights we are picking up are fear experiments, are uncomfortable little things every day. So fear experiments can be small things. For some of us on this call right now, a fear experiment could have been not hitting the snooze button this morning because of what we've got going on in our lives, right? Maybe a fear experiment is wearing a color you're not used to, or doing your first Zoom call, or posting your first selfie to Instagram. Maybe it's DMing Judi Holler and seeing if she'll come on your beach body call. Maybe it's speaking up first on a conference call when you go to live Q&A. Maybe it's sitting in the front row of a meeting once we get back to meetings. Maybe it's this is what I did the other day because things are so glamorous in quarantine. Maybe it's taking a different drive to the grocery store and getting lost on purpose to see what you find. Maybe it's wearing sequin at a conference when everybody else is in business suits. Maybe it's wearing cowboy boots when everybody else is in business heels, right? Maybe it's doing your hair different, or trying a new food, or listening to a new Spotify station, or reading something new, listening to something new, following a scientist, whatever it may be. Fear experiments can be small, everyday things. The goal is to be getting uncomfortable every day on purpose, to be running those reps, right? Courage is a verb. Bravery is a verb. You can't sit there and be brave. You got to move your booty. You got to move it. You got to move it, right? Same with your fitness, same with cardio, same with lifting, right? And so fear experiments are the action. They are the way you prime your courage muscles. So I'm going to do a little contest for y'all, by the way. So I'm going to give you guys, let's see, what is it? It's the end of the day here, so 9:30. I'll give you till tomorrow. I'll give you 24 hours. And I want you guys to tag me on the Instagram. So this is an Instagram challenge because it'll be too hard to look at all the things. So if you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Judi Holler. And if you do a fear experiment in the next 24 hours, tag me. Use fear experiments, hashtag fear experiments, plural, because there's an event called the Fear Experiment, which is really cool. It's an improv group. I love them. But we're fear experiments, or just tag me, whatever. And I will send you a Fear Boss swag bag with some fun stickers. I will give you a signed copy of my book. If you already have one, great, give it to one of your besties. And I'll send you a signed color copy of my new workbook. So I'll do a whole package, and I'll probably pick two people. So let's see, this is a big group. So let's see what we get. So that's my homework assignment. Like, get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. And do you know what else I do at the end of the day? In my journal at night, I'm not great at this. Some days I miss, and that's okay. We're not perfect human beings, but 9 times out of 10, every night, I'm like, what was my fear experiment today? Did I get uncomfortable? And I have found times that I've gone like a week, 3 days, and I'm like, dude, I'm not getting uncomfortable enough. Whoa. Remix, right? Remix. And when people come to me, they're like, oh, I'm in a rut, or I'm stuck, or I don't know where to go, or my relationship's in a rut, my business is in a rut, I'm in a rut. My first response is, when was the last time you've gotten uncomfortable? When was the last time you've done something different, right? So y'all, this holds you to the carpet. And when you have something scary going on, you can go through your list of fear experiments to remind yourself how badass you are and how brave you are and all the stuff you've gone through. So it holds you accountable. So start logging those fear experiments, and I'm going to reward you for hanging out with me on Soch and tagging me in those fear experiments, because I believe courage is so contagious. So is fear, but courage is contagious too. So let's drown out all that scary noise online with our joy, with our bravery, with our courage, right? And start changing some of that conversation. So I'll be looking for you guys. I love this. So Walker iMac, I don't know your first name. I went live today for the first time on IGTV. I should have waited for tomorrow. Girl, still you go now. Great, do another one and tag me, right? But that is super scary. I love, Aaron's like, do it again. Exactly, you did it. Do it again. The more you do this, the better and braver you get. So that's a fear experiment. So Walker iMac 2017, girl, I think you're a girl, maybe you're a guy, I don't know. But moral of the story is that's a fear experiment. Keep going. Cool. Okay, so let me fly through these last 2 for y'all so we have time for Q&A. V is for vulnerable. V is for vulnerable, right? So this means that you have to be willing to get it wrong in order to get it right, right? This means that you live by this mantra, and it's another improv theater mantra, that there are no mistakes, only gifts. No mistakes, only gifts. If you have not listened to the podcast episode I just put out yesterday with Mel Robbins, please go listen. I'm not even going to say anything more. You will, has anybody listened to that? Has anybody listened to that episode yet? If you have, you will be, don't spoiler alert. Okay. Don't spoiler alert it, Shay. You're going to have to listen. No mistakes, only gifts. And this means that you are either, when you're out there trying new things and causing a ruckus and being vulnerable, you're going to either win or you're going to learn. But you will never lose. When you choose to see your life only through the lens of possibility and positivity. Oh, I love it. Connie's got that. You will either win or you will learn, but you will never lose. Yes, life mantra. It is such a beautiful mantra. Why? Because again, you're a fear scientist. If I'm going to win, I'm going to go live on IGTV. Cool. I'll either slay it or I'll learn something new. Great. I'm still winning. Like, you remove the power fear has over you when you choose to only see your life through the lens of possibility and positivity. And I'm going to say something to you right now because times are hard. Just your positivity does not discount that there is pain in this world. And your optimism does not deny that people are suffering right now. But if you have light to give, if you have joy in your heart, we need you to give it. Because there are people that cannot get out of bed. There are people that cannot pay their bills. There are people that are really struggling. So if you have light to give, if you have joy in your heart, my goodness, it's your duty to give it. And do not let anyone make you feel bad for doing that, right? We need positive, beautiful, lit up people now more than ever. And it does not deny that there is pain in this world, right? So I believe vulnerability is this beautiful opportunity to celebrate the courage it takes to try something new. And you could think about this with your kids. If you have kids, this idea that, okay, you didn't make the team, or you didn't get the A, or this friend didn't hang out with you, but you tried something new. You had the guts to put yourself out there. Let's celebrate that. I talk in the book about mistake parties. Let's throw a freaking party for all the stuff that went wrong and celebrate the courage it takes to try something new and what we learned and who are we going to be on the other side of it. These are the people we want to be around. These are the people we want to learn from. These are the people we want to work with, right? Let's celebrate the courage it takes to try new things as opposed to allowing fear to dim our light and keep us playing safe. A fear boss does not live in that mindset. And the reason we can maintain being a boss, causing a ruckus, doing fear experiments, taking action, and being vulnerable is because we protect our energy at all costs. You cannot be exhausted and brave. You can't. You can't be exhausted and brave. You can't be crazy, busy, and brave. You can't be overwhelmed and brave, because bravery requires courage and energy and stamina. It requires you to be alive and awake on the front of your life. So this is why it's kind of a circle. It goes back to being a boss. Are you protecting your energy at all costs? A fear boss, a real boss, knows that their energy is the number one asset they have in order to perform at high levels. And so are you making big deposits into the bank of you first before you take care of the rest of the world? And a beautiful way, a tactical way to start doing that right now is to protect the first 60 minutes of your day. And maybe you have little kids running around, and I get it. Maybe that's the end of the day for you. Maybe it's at lunchtime when they're taking a nap. But if you have flexibility in your morning, how you spend the first 60 minutes of your day determines what your life looks like. Like, show me your first 60 minutes and I'll tell you what your life is like, right? Because I believe that how you own your morning, and when you own your morning, you own your day. And when you own your days, you end up owning your life. And that is not easy to do, which is why it's a fear experiment. Most of us jump right into our email, and we go into the Instagram, and we're sleeping with our phones by our beds and whatever. I mean, y'all, there was a time, and those of you 30 and younger will not remember this, but if you're over 30, you're going to know what I'm talking about here. There was a time, so for my 30s and under, I think it would be 30 and under, probably 29, 30 and under. Y'all will never believe this, buckle up. There was a time when we could not look at our email until we got to work, because we literally could not look at our email until we got to work, right? We had no laptops, we had no cell phones. So you know what we do? We wake up in the morning and we eat breakfast. We'd watch some TV. We'd actually talk to people. Maybe we'd go for a walk or get on the elliptical. I make it sound like I'm like 95, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we would like get up and have a morning. Now we're getting up with our phones and our faces, and we're reacting to everybody. And we wonder why we're getting sick, and we're getting divorced, and we're stressed out, and we're anxious, and we're overwhelmed, and we're not getting anything done. Isn't growing. How you spend the 60 minutes of your day will determine what your life looks like. And maybe that's at noon. Maybe that's the evening. My point is, are you scheduling your priorities and taking care of yourself before you take care of the rest of the world? And if you can't do it in the morning, do you have a block of time in the day for you and your business and your priorities? Are you working with your partner and your spouse? I had I did last week, and she was like, you know, my husband left me, and I have 2 kids, and they're teenage girls, and I'm by myself, and it's COVID, and I'm stressed out. And I said to her, I go, number 1, give yourself grace. Things are crazy right now, so just take a deep breath. And number 2, maybe it's a slice of something for you. Maybe tomorrow you like paint your toenails, or maybe you read 10 pages of a book. Maybe when the girls are napping or they go to bed, you get to take a bubble bath. Or like, you don't need to have like all of this time in a row, like micro dose it. Go small to go big. But I told her her fear experiment was to try and find 10 minutes a day to do something that brings her freaking joy. Maybe it's listening to 10 minutes of a podcast, or to calling her best friend, or watching trash television. Just 10 minutes is all she's on a mission to go get health. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to feel good, and it's going to spread and spread and spread and spread and spread, right? And so much if you're in a situation, but we can make a lot of excuses for why we can't. Excuses are fear. And so when I hear someone, you think about your clients you're working with in a coaching perspective. When you hear someone making excuses, someone you love, someone you're coaching, instead of getting frustrated or trying to teach right away or to give them all these examples, start asking, what are you afraid of? Because 9 times out of 10, an excuse is fear. There's either love or fear, right? And so I offer that to you because it may be helpful as you think about how you navigate these really crazy times, and also your coaches. And you're going to have people make a lot of excuses for why they can't do the thing. What are we afraid of? What are we really afraid of? And how can we get out from underneath that? Cool. So let me just share a couple of things with you guys, and then we're going to go into a fun Q&A. So I've got some free things for you. Let me show you. So take a picture of this slide. If you guys text Brave to the number 474747, just take a picture. You'll get some of my journaling pages. You'll get some cool screensavers. You'll get a couple free chapters of my book. So if you haven't read the book, you can try before you buy, and all kinds of cool stuff. Specifically, you'll get signed up for this, which is so much fun and the best way to stay in touch with me. It is my newsletter that comes out every Friday. It's a little party in your inbox. Every Friday for 5 years, haven't missed a Friday, sharing resources, tools, little bite-sized chunks of information, easily digestible, things you can share with your team, use for yourself. So it'll get you signed up for that. And a lot of you are asking what the podcast is. This is free. It's my podcast. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. And yeah, so I'd love to see you guys there every week. I pick a Fear Boss of the Week. So if you guys could do me any favor today, by the way, it would mean the freaking world to me if you would subscribe for my podcast, and also review my book. If you've gotten the book and you've read the book and you've loved it, please drop into Amazon and just leave Judi rocks and a couple of stars, 5 stars, whatever you feel in your heart. That would just mean the world. But my podcast is a great free resource. Also, we have a Facebook group, if you guys like Facebook, a community of fear bosses that are out there doing great things, really supportive stuff happening there. And of course, I'm on all the social media. Instagram's my favorite place to hang out. So please come say hello there. And last but not least, y'all, we just launched the Fear Boss store. Oh yeah, that's right. Those are fanny packs. I could not resist. We've got stickers. I've got obviously my book and a brand new workbook. And I want you to write this down. I'm giving Beachbody 15% off of anything you want, your whole cart. The only thing it's not good for is the workbook, because the workbook is like Amazon only and they control the pricing. But my book, stickers, I got baby onesies, I got sweatshirts, I got all the things. Use Beachbody 15. Beachbody 15. It does not expire, okay? So please use it on small business. My team has had so much fun creating all of this stuff for y'all, and it's one of the big requests we got from our community. Everybody wanted stickers and swag, so thank you, quarantine. We did it, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew we had a little discount for you. And I mean, can you even, there's a onesie, Future Fear Boss. I mean, I can't. It's so good. Okay, so let's stop the share. Awesome, so fun, yay. Decker just said, Lauren Lamb, I just said Decker will want that fanny pack. I don't know who Decker is, but I love it. Yeah, I'm super into, I love fanny packs. Why not, right? Especially for the gym, right? You don't want to bring your fancy stuff. So every time I'm going to work out, I strap on a fanny pack. I travel for a living. Well, I used to anyway. And so I had to make some fanny packs. Okay, so Paul, fear experiment. Who's going to ask the first question? But I am happy to be at your service and hang out for like 20 minutes and answer some questions. We can go a little long too if you guys want, like 10 after.
I have a question.
Who is that? Is that Shay? Okay, hi Shay. Perfect. I'll scroll back.
What's your favorite hip hop song or artist? I'm a huge old school hip hop fan. I know there's a lot of girls on the team too. So what are your favorites?
Well, I would say without a doubt. Hold on, can I do this? Oh, good. I'm on my computer for a second. You guys ready? Hold on. You guys know who that is?
That's awesome.
Snoop Doggy Dogg. So without a doubt, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Did I just, hold on. Did I just lose you guys?
No.
Hold on. It's a second. Okay, cool. Yeah, oh God. I hate frozen face. It was probably the worst face too. It always freezes you and you're like, oh, how embarrassing. So Snoop Dogg, that's for my wedding. So when I got married, I had to have a cardboard cutout of Snoop, and we had like a step and repeat and some fun props. I got married New Year's Eve weekend. And so I love Snoop. Oh my God. I graduated high school in 1994. So that's when it all was. So yeah, Snoop. Good question. Way to kick it off, Shay. What
What's
about
mine?
you?
Oh man, it's so hard for me to pick, but I'm like loving Vanilla Ice again. I got to see him in concert at a local casino.
I didn't see that coming at all.
He brought me up on stage and it was pretty epic.
Wow. That's a highlight.
I really haven't told a lot of people, so apparently I need to
just did. I love it. Awesome. What questions you guys got? I'm scrolling the pages. I know y'all aren't a shy group.
You guys just unmute yourself if you have a question.
I have a question.
Okay, who is it? Wave at me so I can find you.
It's my name.
Okay, look. I see you now. Yeah, I was
okay. So tell me who your favorite podcast interviewee was and why.
Ooh, well, I just started taking interviews, so I've only done 2. So the first person I ever had on my podcast is Kara Awaleba, who is otherwise known on Instagram as the Champagne Diet. I don't know if you know her, but she's fabulous, and she's got a connection in the Beachbody community as well. But she coached me for a while, and she was really the one who talked me off the ledge in December to start the podcast. And so I felt it was just so fitting to have her be my first, right? And then I had one other interview, and it's Mel Robbins, and the episode just dropped yesterday. Mel endorsed my book, and she's a mentor of mine, and she's so awesome, and it was just incredible to have her on the show. So I think for me, I've only had 2 interviews. It's been just kind of me, and Amanda on my team comes on, but she's not interviewed, she's interviewing me. So sometimes she'll do episodes with me where she'll take crazy things that come in from the community, or talk to me about self-publishing a workbook, and we do like a podcast style Q&A interview, and those are always really fun. But I'm just now starting to do interviews and really thinking about what that looks like. But Mel, hands down, but you gotta listen, because it's crazy. It's not what you expect, but it's really it leans into one of the Fear Boss mantras, in motion, and yeah, it's a pretty cool podcast.
I'm excited. Thanks. I just downloaded it. Yeah.
I hope to see you there. That's awesome. Come listen.
I have one.
Okay, who is it? Where are you at? Wave your Veronica. Okay, I'm gonna find you. I don't know what page you're on, but just start talking, girl.
Okay.
There you are.
So I had a few people that I was talking to today, and they said like they were definitely fearful of like just calling in and saying, hey, I can get a coach discount, or like just to get it free in our state. And how do you, without saying like, oh girl, you need to just overcome your fear, like help them work through that, like to just, besides just saying that your book is like the greatest, that will help you with that.
So sorry, you were kind of breaking up. So is the question that someone is trying to email someone about a discount for being a coach or coaching products? Tell me, I just want to make sure I understand the question.
How would you just like help them overcome fear? Like, okay, realize what their fear is, and then approach them that's where they need to start to overcome it.
Yeah. So there is, okay, cool. So there is this really powerful fear setting exercise I talk about in Fears by Homeboy, that is something you can use with anyone who is walking through something that is really scaring them, whether it's something personally or professionally. And it's a 5-part framework that really sort of helps you check yourself before you wreck yourself, and it helps you avoid, it's like a recipe to help you avoid self-destruction. But I think what the most, so that number 1, and I can't remember what page it's on in my book, but it's one of the homework assignments, and it's 5 steps, but we really take people from, okay, we worry about all the stuff that could go wrong. Like step 1 is saying, okay, let's get out of our head and out of our minds and out of our body all the stuff that we're worried about, all the stuff that could go wrong, because stuff could go wrong, okay? Then column 2, who could help me? If this goes wrong, do I know anybody that could help me? Do I have any resources? And something I love to think about, has anyone less amazing than me freaking figured this thing out? Yes, there are less people less amazing than me that have started podcasts and written books and become speakers. I'm sorry, right? And the only difference between them and me is one person chose to jump and one person is sitting back being scared, right? So I think there's a lot of power in like, okay, what could go wrong? What are we afraid of here? What's all the stuff that could go wrong? Who could help me? How would I figure it out? And has anybody less amazing than me figured this out? What's it costing me to not make a change, to not face this fear, to not do the new thing? What is it costing you mentally, physically, and emotionally? And last, and this is where we become unicorns and we really step into our superpowers. We begin to ask the question, okay, what could go right? And that's the list you photocopy and take a photo of and put it everywhere. And I want it on your car dashboard, on your computer, in your bathroom mirror, everywhere, so that when things get hard, you're focusing on what could go right. The question I'm also obsessed with right now that I think will serve you too is this: how can you make COVID the best thing that ever happened to you? How can you make this crisis the best thing that ever happened to you? How can you make what's going on in the world around civil unrest, right, and racial injustice the best thing that's ever happened to you? When we start to live in a mindset of, how can this change me for the better? What could go right in my business? What could go right in my relationship, right? You start to remove the power fear has over you, and you begin to have more brave discussions, and you really keep your eyes on the freaking prize. Because yes, things could go wrong, but we have to be careful about attaching too much meaning to the good and or bad things that are happening to us, because all we have is right now. You don't know. That's anxiety, worrying about tomorrow when we're not even in tomorrow yet. Jordan said this great quote in his, did anybody watch the documentary, Michael Jordan documentary? Oh my God. It was so good. I just clipped this quote and I want to make sure I say it right. It was one of my favorite parts of the doc. It's when he said this. He said, in The Last Dance is, by the way, the documentary. If you haven't seen it, as athletes, you're going to love it, whether you like Jordan or not. It is a story, right? But he said this, it was the very last episode, and it was towards the end, and he had a videographer behind him, and they were just talking to him off camera about just focus and how he does it and all this stuff. And he's like, listen, they were talking about being on self-doubt. Like they were talking about how does he stay out of self-doubt and out of anxiety and into action. He says, listen, he goes, why would I think about missing a shot I haven't even taken yet? Why would I think about missing a shot that I haven't even taken yet? And I was like, well, that is it. That is it. Why am I sitting here worrying about a shot I haven't even taken yet? Let me take the shot, miss the shot, and then worry about what I'm going to do to fix it, right? Why am I worried? And this was 2 days before I did my first ever virtual keynote here in my office. I had never done live improv virtually. I was a nervous wreck. And I was like, I ain't even taken the shot yet. I'm prepared. I've been running the drills. We've rehearsed. We've got people. I know this. I'm a performer. I was born for this. I'm in the game. I'm running the drills. Like, just like Jordan, you're practicing. You're an athlete. But now you got to trust yourself to show up. And if I miss, if we make some mistakes, and if things don't go right, great, we're going to learn. But why am I worried about that shot? Because I haven't even taken it yet. And I loved that. I think that's something, Veronica, that's you and the person you're specifically thinking of, and even yourself, guys, seeing what could go right, and how can we make the worst things the best things that ever happened to us. I hope that helps. Yeah, you're welcome. Great question.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, is that Bryn?
Yes, Bryn.
Hi, Bryn.
This is scaring the crap out of me, but
Yeah,
here is
girl.
my.
Woo! That means you're gonna get braver.
Yes. So was your book like first step for you? Was that your first step into your fear? And then like, okay, once you wrote your book, then you like, okay, now I'm going to create this team. Okay, now I'm going to create this podcast. Like, what was the first step for you for like owning your voice, stepping into your fear?
Such a good question. So it was not the first step at all. My first step was, I've had a lot of I feel like I'm a cat. I had like 9 lives. Like, so in my 20s, I was a waitress and a bartender and finishing college and, just trying to figure out my place in the world. And then in my late 20s, I got into the meetings industry and worked health industry and did sales and marketing and really built a career. In my 30s, early 30s, I was the boss in that career, moved to Chicago and did all of these like really cool businessy things. But at 30, I also discovered improv. I didn't take my first improv until I was 30. And so in my 30s, I was like, businesswoman by day and improviser by night, and met my husband at 35. He was my boyfriend at the time, but you get my point. I was single for a while. And then at 35, that same time I was meeting my husband, I decided, maybe I should start. All this stuff in the improv theater is like inspiring the crap out of me. Maybe I should start speaking about it. Like I should start a blog or something. What's a blog? And so I just started a little blog about what I was learning, and I would like beg my managers to like let me lead the sales meetings with the stuff, like these improv ideas. And then it turned into a thing, and I picked up traction, and I was doing free speaking events anywhere I could to talk about what I was learning. So it really kind of began there, speaking for free, just really sharing my ideas. It was making me a better performer, and it was helping me sell, right, for my professional job. But what ended up happening is I started getting offers to go speak and get paid money. And then it got to the point where I was like having to take all my vacation days, use all my vacation days to go speak because I had a salary. And it got really confusing to the point where my boss at the age of 38 sat me down and he says, like, you got to make a choice. Like, this is getting confusing and you're taking all this vacation and you got this public profile and all this stuff. And it's, basically like, not firing me, but like choose. And I'll never forget, that was April 2016. And I was like, I don't choose you. And I quit my job to speak and write full time. But keep in mind, that was 2016. I had been sort of speaking for free and speaking for like $250, $500, whatever I could for 8 to 10 years, writing and building and pivoting. I mean, I started out, y'all, as like a personal branding speaker, and I was talking about putting yourself out and all these sort of things. But then I realized that the reason we don't put ourselves out there is we're afraid. And I started to really begin my love affair with fear because I was getting deep into improv. And so I started to build a successful speaking career, and I got my book deal in 2018. So I was speaking for 2 years professionally, and I wrote the book not because I dreamt of being an author. I mean, it's really cool to be an author, but it was a marketing tool for me. I knew if I wanted to be a big deal speaker and to be a big girl speaker, I had to have a big deal book, and I had to have a book, right? And so I did it, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so damn glad I did it, right? But that's kind of the trajectory. I started speaking first, and then the book came after that. So it was just a slow build, but and I mean, I never in a million years really thought I'd be an author, but I kind of always knew that I'd end up in the world of speaking. I guess loosely, when I was in grade school, I did like speech meets and stuff. So like when kids were like doing gymnastics and like kicking around the soccer ball, I was like a baby keynote speaker, like memorizing monologues and performing them. And my dad would drive me all over the place, and like I'd win gold ribbons. And I guess I didn't know at the time that I loved storytelling. I loved orating. I loved, and that was my favorite part about my sales job. I loved presenting. I loved site visits at my hotels. I loved telling stories. And so when I started my business, and this is great advice, I went all in on my strength. I bet on my biggest strength. And I always knew the one thing I did better than most people in my circle was I could speak. I could perform, and I could connect with an audience, right? And I could tell stories. And so I built my business, which is now a bigger business, around my core strength, which is speaking. So I really tell entrepreneurs to go all in on something, right? Like, what is that strength? And then hire people to help you with the other stuff, right? When you can, but go all in on that thing that makes you so special. And if you don't know what that is, I put this in the Fear Boss Project. It's one of the activities I put in my workbook. A fear experiment is to go out. I end each section with a fear experiment. And it's to go out to 10 people in your network, maybe 5 personal, 5 business, and to ask them, because it's a fear experiment, because it's uncomfortable, to ask them what they feel your strengths are, right? Like, what do they think you do better than anybody else? And you'll get this like really cool list from everybody. And you could tell them you're running a research project and it's something you're doing for work, or you're running a fear experiment, who cares, whatever, and collect this, and you'll start to see patterns, right, about you. And a lot of us aren't even awake to the things we do better than everybody else. We assume we're good at this, but you might not even realize things you're doing that everybody else sees in you, right? And so how can you go in on that? So I say 5 business, so people that know you business-wise, and 5 personal people, and see where overlap is. Last thing I'll say, I ended up printing mine. So I took all my common themes and I print it and put it on really cute paper, like photo paper in different colors, and I framed it and it sits in my office. So whenever I feel like sad or doubtful or I forget why I rock, I look at that list of the 25 people. I went out to 25 people, and of the 25 things people said about me, and it keeps me in forward momentum. So that was like kind of a long answer of the journey, but yeah, really go all in on your strengths and make sure you know what those are. And the journey always looks like this, right? But it always kind of comes back to what's at your core. And I think at my core, I've always loved storytelling. And so here we are.
I have a question.
Great question. Yeah, what's up,
Okay.
Jen?
Well, this is scary for me. So this goes back to your brave, when going back to energy. So one of the biggest things that I have a fear about is protecting my energy from people. And what is your recommendation or advice when some of those people that drain your energy are actually family?
Yeah, I know.
Because I have real fear behind it, because I'm a communicator and I love holy, and I don't want to burn bridges, but at the same time, I mean, people always give that advice of just cut them out. And I've read and seen so many things and nothing's quite fit me yet. I know that there's certain things I have to remove of that. So I'm just curious what you would have to say.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I see a lot of head nods on these screens. Like, please, like, raise your hand if you have an energy vampire in your life. I think we did that at the beginning, right? Like, I think so many people have these people in their lives, and it's really hard when they're in your family. I can absolutely relate. I've walked through that. And I think there's a couple of things to be careful of. There are some people that will never understand your dream or your passions. And I also think that we have to really be careful of other people's opinions, because you changing and you doing something brave and you growing and you being a light and you doing all of that is going to make someone else feel uncomfortable, because they're not ready to lay down a sword for themselves. So they see something in you that they're not ready to do for themselves. And so they'd rather keep you small, because if you get big, that means they have to get big, and we don't want to get big. I'd rather stay the same. And so a tactical example would be, like, say you're trying to quit smoking. If you were a smoker, or say you're trying to quit drinking, I'll speak specifically from, like, the smoking hat. I used to smoke back in the day, and I'll never forget when I was trying to quit smoking, there were people that did not like that. And so I stopped getting invited to happy hours, to going out, and people just didn't hang out with me as much. I wasn't going to the break room and all things. And it wasn't that they didn't like me. It was that they weren't ready to lay down that sword for themselves. And I was a constant reminder of what they weren't willing to do for themselves. So it was easier for them to sort of be passive aggressive and shut me out and do those sorts of things, because it was covering up for something that was going on in them. So number one, just remember, anybody's naughty behavior or passive aggressiveness or negativity is never really about you. It's about something they've got going on inside of themselves. And we can never control other people, places, and or things. So a fear boss doesn't waste her time doing that. That said, there are people, mother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, sisters, brothers, parents, that we just can't get away from. But that doesn't mean that you have to risk your energetic health in order to make them feel better about themselves. So you have to protect your light with your life. And so can you limit your time? Can you, and these are fear experiments, because it is absolutely uncomfortable to not buy into this, but it's so dangerous and it's so unhealthy. And so I am not a therapist. I am not an expert in this area at all. I struggle with this every day, specifically with my mom, but I have had to remove it. Like, I've had to take the ball and get it off the field, because I know that I cannot function in an environment that is destructive and negative and passive aggressive. So I have a pretty low tolerance policy for it. And it just has gotten easier as I've gotten older, because I stopped giving less F's, right? I have a limited amount of F's to give. Okay, I have like a little bucket of F's, and I'm going to give those F's to the people I love. I can't give them to everybody. And so I can't give, I care about those people, but I just don't give them all of my F's, right? I spend it where I'm going to get back more than I give, right? And so just give yourself the permission to take a deep breath, to realize you'll never be able to change these people. They've got to want to change themselves, but you have every right to protect your life with your life, and you should. And, you know, you can give someone grace, but it doesn't excuse bad behavior, you know, and just, it gets easier as you go, but maybe make it your fear experiment. Start to pull back a little, start to speak up, start to advocate for yourself, start to set boundaries. Boundaries are how I deal with negative people in my life personally and or professionally. So boundaries are, that is so freaking hard to do, but you're stronger and you're braver, and it will make you fear. So just hang in there. It's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah. Awesome.
I've got a question.
Yeah, we'll do one more question. Let's do one more.
How did you word it when you asked like what your strengths are? Because I guess my like hesitation is coming off like too confident. Is that a thing anymore when you're trying to be like a boss babe?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that, by the way. Let's have a quick conversation real quick about confidence, because your confidence is contagious, by the way. Your courage is contagious. When I see you love yourself, when I see you be confident, when I see you show up for yourself, when I see you do all of those things, when I see you be brave, it gives me the permission to be brave. It gives me there are people watching you, not in a creepy way, but we're watching you. And you have this beautiful opportunity in front of you to be a fear role model. And so when you love yourself, and when you're brave, and when you put yourself out there, and when you take risks for yourself and your business, and I think I just saw a kid come into your screen, your kids are watching you. So when you have this opportunity in front of you to be a role model, so your confidence is going to rub off on them. Your courage will rub off on them, and you're modeling all of those behaviors. So no, be confident. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and confidence and aggression. And I talk about that in the workbook a little bit. I have this like exercise about it, but let me tell you, like, you have every right to toot your own horn, and there's a way to do that with grace, and we do that through storytelling and being of service and sharing stories and helping, right? That said, if you go out to someone, I think what I said was something along the lines of, and I'm improvising here, and if you get the workbook, I do have an exercise, and I'm trying to flip to the page to see if I have it written down here really quick. But I would say something like, I think it's this one. Hold on one second. I don't have the pages memorized, but it was a good one. Okay, so I say here, it's like page 44, right? So this is the one not in color. I have a color version too, but I say, email 10 people you know, personally and professionally, and ask them what they think your 3 best qualities are. This is a fear experiment in itself, so be brave and do it. Look for common threads in the responses, and as you get them in print, print them and put them on a piece of paper. So I would say, when I went out and did this, I said something along the lines of like, hey, so-and-so, and I went individually. Well, I just grouped all my friends. So I did like 15 friends, and they were all in a group text. And then my work ones I did individually. And I said, but I copied and pasted the text, just changed the first name. And I said, hey, Bob, I'm running an experiment, and I am trying something new in my business, and I am conducting a little personal research. Would you mind sharing what you feel my top 3 qualities are, or my top 3 strengths are, best qualities, or my top 3 strengths are, so I can add your response to my research, something like that. Like, say you're conducting research for a project you're trying in your business, or at the time I was starting a new business. I'm starting a new business, and I'm working on a research project, and I'm trying to find some patterns in my personal and professional strengths. Would you mind sharing what you feel my strengths are at work? And so if they're personal friends, you phrase it, hey guys, what do you think my strengths are as a friend, as a human being? And to work people, hey, what do you think my strengths are inside the office? And what have you seen over the years that you feel makes me stand out? So be human about it, but just say you're running an experiment. That's what I do. Hey, I'm running an experiment here, and I'd love to get your input and your research. So yeah. Such a good question. So I love it. So Yeah, this is so good. So Shay, do you recommend asking on social media, specifically Facebook? Yeah, you could do like a little, like if you have a fan page, you could do like a survey, but I find that it's personal. Like it's nice to DM or go inbox because it is personal, and I think you'll want to wait to kind of collect. But you do your tribe. So yeah, if you feel, I just wanted to get opinions, not from everybody. I wanted to get opinions from people I felt really knew me and really had a baseline to make an appropriate decision about how they feel about my personality. And I would specifically go out to people at work that had worked with me, not like a random LinkedIn, someone who maybe had a conversation with me, like people who had worked with me and had spent some time with me. So I curated it specifically to get quality answers. You may not get as good of quality if you cast like a really wide net. Yeah. Well, you guys are just amazing. Yeah, I wish we had more time. It's never enough time. But did you guys find some value? I hope you learned something new. I think the workbook is a great next step. I really designed that. You're so welcome, Julie. I love this. The workbook is really designed to build off the big ideas and fears of my homeboy, and it's brand new stuff. Like it's ideas not in fears of my homeboy. And it's designed for book clubs and readers circles at work and sales meetings and coachings. God, you use some of these exercises with your, the clients you work with. But most importantly, just know that I'm over here cheering you on, and you are braver than you can even imagine. And I'm so grateful to be here. What a gift you guys are. So thanks for spending the evening with me. This is so cool.
Thank you, Judi, so much. Like, I just want to, I know if you're on the East Coast, we have people from East Coast to West Coast to Canada. I don't know if we have anybody on UK. We even have UK like on our team, and like, now, so I don't know who's all on here, but it's being recorded. We're going to be sharing it with everybody. I think like I got so many nuggets. I don't know about you guys. Like I never take this many notes. Like seriously, like you speak life, and I think we need this so much with everything going on. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know Micah, just everybody, like we're so appreciative of you and what you have, given us, and these gifts you've given us. So I can't wait to do your contest. I'm like, my brain's like,
don't forget, you know what? We'll have to do, Shay, and I'll follow up with you guys offline. If I get the emails of all your team, because UK people and people out of the country won't be able to get the text Brave to 4747 with all the good stuff. So I'll follow up with y'all if I can. I'll work with the bands on my team. So I didn't realize we had international people. So we'll coordinate, making sure everybody can get everything that I'm giving you guys today. But Beachbody 15, have some fun. Write that down. Text Brave to 474747. See you guys on the gram. I'll see you at Summit.
Yeah, 2021.
Let's go. And just, over here cheering you guys on. You're so beautiful and just so brave. And I'm just honored to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Judi. I hope you have a great night. Thank you, everyone.
Back at you guys. Bye for your bosses.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.